Ladies and gentlemen, tonight's performance is about to begin.
Hey everybody, welcome to Speaking Freedom blah blah blah. Welcome to Speaking Freedom TV, the world of sex. Today we have a special guest coming back. Hey Arch, how you doing? Of course, I am your host, Dr. Kaci. Of course, I always forget to introduce myself. It's unedited, so all of this is staying. Y'all gonna hear my fumbles.
You just learned to talk, apparently.
Listen, that's what it sounds like, huh? How you been doing, Arch?
Oh, it's been good. It's been good. It's been different. It's been all over the place, full spectrum, you know?
Now that sigh at the beginning would
Yeah.
lead me to ask, what's up? What's going on with you? I mean, you still doing your dominatrix, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Of
Yes.
course. I mean, how could you ever stop?
Well, in this political climate, it might be quicker and sooner than you think.
Really? Why would you say that?
There is subtext in Project 2025 that makes porn illegal,
Really?
and any creator of porn can go to jail and will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law.
I mean, now, if they make porn illegal, then everybody that is on 2025 that's a part of that crew is probably gonna go down too because
Okay. Well, no, because they're not making it. Again, people who are making it are the people that are the problem. It's a threat to the moral majority.
but the people that's watching it are the reason that people are making it.
But do you know that Texas and numerous other states just don't get Pornhub anymore?
Mm-mm. Well, I don't use Pornhub. You know, I am a Twitter girl, so
If you do a Google search for the Texas porn ban, you'll understand. What
okay.
they're trying to do is to get people to upload their identifications to these websites to prove they're above 18 years or older.
Oh, and nobody is doing that because
Nobody
like
wants
why
to
would
do
I
any
do
of
that?
that. So instead of making that the application, they've just removed themselves from the state altogether.
Right.
So
Which is
just
understandable on their end because you don't want to risk your clientele or your users information for that. That's kind of crazy.
but that could very well be the future.
I hear you, and of course, because you know that it's happening, it sounds more plausible. But to me, it sounds to for it to be a blanket type of thing. I don't see how that would be able to stand, but I do understand your level of concern.
Yeah, I mean it just that, and I mean we keep an algorithm on our Twitter that's pretty sex positive, so we see
Mhm,
more than the average person.
mhm, mhm.
But I've got things that come up on my feed that people will be like, ban porn off Twitter. Like, take porn off Twitter. Like, it needs to be removed from the internet. They're so concerned.
I think
It's like, how does that even like these people just like porn just happens to come into their feed? Like, it's not like we're so desensitized by it because we're in that algorithm. But
mhm.
you have to remember the average person doesn't have that in their feed. So it just, however it reaches someone, however it makes someone feel on the other end, that's a real thing now, you know?
Well,
So,
I think that we are overly sensitive now as like as a whole as a culture, and there are some things that no matter how much you try to etch it out of society, you won't be able to etch it out. Normally when you try to ban things, it makes it worse, um
absolutely.
versus making it better. So I am kind of in this mode right now to where I'm just kind of seeing how everything plays out, see what all happens because there is a large majority of people that have complained about the government overall for a very long time. And I have always, at least for the last 5 or 6, 7 years, I've always stated that in order for things to change, it has to be um, challenged from the outside, but it also has to be broken from the inside. So you have to have somebody inside to break it. And people that look like me will never be able to break it because we are all
No,
on
but
the other end.
no, but what's happening with the political climate in our country right now, I think that the breaking that they're doing, just watch it because freedom of speech will be tested several times. If not with this administration, as a byproduct of this administration using social media to its demise, so to speak, there will be some sort of censorship applied in the future.
I think we need to have you on our regular show so we can talk about this more.
Okay. Well, it affects me as a sex worker, so
Right,
that's
right,
what
right,
we talk about.
right, right,
And
right.
it's just like, it's not meant to, because again, like the average person this doesn't affect them.
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
It only affects the people that are making the content. This only affects the people that are like
the
making
I
their
think
living.
the missing component that you're not considering is how many people actually watch it. And even though it seems as though that the creators are affected, other people are definitely more affected than they will probably protest about or speak of publicly. But the backlash that comes from things that like this, it is it's felt, it's heard, and it's seen. It's just not going to be um on the news, I would say, in that way, because even the bans and the things that have happened thus far aren't something that's publicized. So, but when you start talking about um, the industry in that way, the sex work industry and politics, it's a lot of toes that's gonna get stepped on in general because they're
Yeah.
the politicians are some of the more wilder people, and it's
Yeah.
more handled discreetly because they can't put themselves out there in that way. So overall, I think watching everything play out, even if it seems as though it will be detrimental in the beginning, no change starts out looking like it's going to be a good thing. Um,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
always starts out kind of crazy.
Yeah. Well, I
um,
mean, like I said, just be aware because as an educator and me as a sex worker,
mhm.
DEI, we fit under DEI. We're both marginalized populations at that point,
I
you know.
mean, so with the DEI portion of it, I think that a lot of these terms are used very loosely and don't affect the people that uh I don't believe it affects you as much as you think. Um, as far as on the sex worker end, because when you think about what DEI, the people that benefit from DEI are normally white women. And all of the demographic that supersedes anything that we're talking about or
I get
doing.
that. I get that.
So on that end, I think that um as a sex worker, definitely be concerned because this is
Yeah.
your profession. This is how you
Yeah.
you you make your ends meet. But I would suggest that you kind of don't. I'm not saying that you're panicking, but don't panic, or over exert the negative thought
Yeah.
process,
Yeah. I get
and kind of leave room. And listen, I didn't vote for Trump. I am not a pro Trumper. However, I am pro expose everything that is wrong with the system.
Yeah.
And it's going to take a lot to really expose everything. The thing is, when it comes to porn, sex work, and all of those are things that if they are threatened, it will threaten people in high positions more than anything else, because then you got the exposure factor and the blackmail factor. Like, if you don't make some changes and, kind of release the hold on this, it's gonna be a problem. But we were talking about Trump,
Yeah.
who
Yeah,
is
that's
who is
politics.
a,
That's
a,
politics. So
a
back to the fun
advocate
stuff.
of
Yeah,
sex.
back to the fun stuff in my life.
No, 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 wait, because Trump is paying sex workers probably as we fucking speak. You know what I mean?
Well,
So
after what Stormy Daniels did to him, I don't think he really has a soft spot for them.
shit.
That's all I'm saying.
Once you like certain things, you like certain things. And even though she may have screwed him, he still believe in grabbing women by the pussy, So it's just a matter of comfort. So normally, when anytime something happens, um you might feel reprimanded for a minute. It's just gonna take you a little while longer before you begin to engage in that activity again. But it's
As someone,
like
as someone who has been accused of consent violations, yes, that is exactly, yeah, it is
I mean,
protocol to a T.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I mean, like, but that goes across the board, not just as a sex worker, just in general.
Yeah.
It's a lot of things that they might try, even with the Project 2025, that will end up blowing back up in their face. Because the way of the world is the way of the world, and it doesn't change just because somebody doesn't like it.
Yeah. That being said, on that happy note, well, I mean, I've been good. I've just been trying to find out, or how
How
it's all.
things are going. So
Yeah,
are you where are you geographically located?
West
Like, you ain't get
Coast,
it.
West
Huh?
Coast, West
West
Coast.
Coast. Okay. So I mean, um, well, are
Well, and I know it. Okay, like yeah, I know it. Yeah, yeah.
how do we come back from that?
I mean, I
so
love it.
so how has everything been going with the sex work?
Good. I mean, I have opened up more of my client base to women. I've had a
Mm-hmm.
lot more relate like experiences with women on that. And I've done escorting for women
Mm-hmm.
before in the past, so I kind of like it's just a hat I can put on, but it's interesting to see how patterns evolve,
Mm-hmm.
because I kind of recognize the world as like patterns. I
Do
see
they
my
differ?
clients.
Do the patterns that you see or experience differ from men and women?
Yeah, there's wild, wild differences between the two. A man that pays for sex is not, I mean, he feels a lot differently about it than a woman that pays for sex.
Is
So
she more emotional about it, or can you describe?
I think it's more ego based. I think
Mm-hmm.
it's more like the disbelief that she actually is doing this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like it's just like I could get anybody. Why the fuck do I have to pay someone?
Right.
Just like because you like can't do relationship. You need
Right. Mhm.
compensate like this compartment that we're in, this little like this works for you. That's why you're paying for it. Like it just
Mhm.
you don't have to worry about responsibilities of needs, wants, like it just but it just I think there's a lot of like that's a very hard pill to swallow. That's like I've gotten to the point where
I
I
gotta
need to
buy
pay.
it.
Yeah.
So, and then how does that differ from men?
Men just know it's gonna cost them something.
So they don't have to rationalize it in their minds.
No, because it like it exists. It's not like this mythical thing that just like gigolos are so like elusive, whereas like the prostitute archetype is more just like
Mm-hmm.
everybody knows that, you
Mm-hmm.
know? It's easier for a woman to be a whore on the outside than a man sometimes, I
So
imagine.
let me ask you a question. I know
Yeah.
that you're a sex worker, but I wanted to ask, these are some of my new questions. How important is sex in a relationship?
I think that to me, love and sex both are things that I have I'm kinked. I'm bent.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not like most people.
Mm-hmm.
Things got really confused really early for me. So I think that important, I mean, it's super important to me, but to some people, I mean, some people identify as asexual. So like
Right.
it's not important to them, you know? And I think for me, it's more important to have a physical,
Connection.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I mean, but again, like I can do all this like with my eyes closed. Like
Right.
I'm not bragging on that. Like
Right.
that's not a brag. It's just like I'm really just so used to either A, being in a relationship or B, monetizing or fetishizing relationship to some degree that I'm always communicating. I'm always, negotiating. I'm always hypothesizing.
Always in go mode, it sounds like.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So, does size matter? As a man, dealing with men, or as a man dealing with women, on both ends.
I mean, I have not made my living for a while touting my dick to men. Like I've done porn and I knew most of the people buying it were men. That's as
Hmm.
far as I get. Like I don't fuck men. I
I
don't,
mean, that wasn't the question.
but that's what I'm saying. Like size mattering, like the size of their bank account. Like that's
I
the only,
mean, what size matters to you? I mean, in your experience, has your size mattered when dealing with women? And then the size of your penis, and then on the other end, does the size of a woman when you're being sexual matters? When you're being a dominatrix for men, how much does their size matter? And
it doesn't. It
or
doesn't.
your size to them, in the grand scheme of things.
No, it doesn't because again, in kink, when you're doing like pro dom stuff and
Hmm.
dominatrix stuff, like you're playing in the head.
Hmm.
That is turning someone on and playing in an enhanced place,
Hmm.
and sex is not part of it. It
Right.
just doesn't have anything to do with
To
it.
do
They
with
may
it.
release because they're so horny, or they may release because they're so aroused or whatever,
Hmm.
but like it doesn't have anything to do with that. It's all psychological torture that I'm doing with those men.
And then, so when you're with women, does size matter? Like how big a
Um,
woman is
no,
physically,
no, no.
vagina?
No, it doesn't. I think that it's more about the person that's inside. I'm a slut. I've done all types, it doesn't, it matters more if I'm fucking recreationally a little bit because if a girl is a certain weight or a certain height, like we just don't
Mesh
match.
well. Hmm.
Yeah, like I'll lose inches on a girl if she's too big. So
Right.
it just I can go there and I can play that, but I don't I don't prefer that. That's not like my preference.
Do you lose interest when you feel like that comes into play?
When size comes into play?
Hmm.
No, not necessarily.
So let me ask you this question. When it comes to vagina sizes, I'm a woman, but I only know my vagina.
Yeah.
Uh, how do they differ, as far as outside versus inside? Or
I
have you
mean,
noticed?
I mean, I don't think there's differences, but it's subtle. It all feels the same. I mean, it
Okay.
doesn't all feel the same, but I don't fucking know. Like you're gonna get me canceled by saying this shit. I don't
I'm
even
not gonna get you canceled. Who gonna cancel you?
your listeners be like that. Like, I talk about fucking. Do you ever see that? What was it? Curb Your Enthusiasm, where the girl
Hmm.
was like saying like that. She's like to the guy. She's like small penis. He's like, yeah, wide vagina, wide vagina.
I mean, so What from what I see on social media like Facebook or whatever, guys have a varying response to if size matters. I know for women size definitely matters because, penises are all types of sizes. It could be
Right.
either too big or too small. It could be too thick or too
But it's a
thin.
personal thing. It's a personal thing. And it just like whatever fits you and fills you up just right.
That's what's gonna be the best.
That's what works, you know? Like it just I think that because of how I'm built, I'm like 150 pounds. I'm not that fucking big myself, but like if I fuck a really skinny girl, it hurts.
Mm.
It
For
hurts.
you or for her?
Yeah, for me, because it just like it's bone. There's nothing.
Oh,
Nothing.
really?
Yeah, like give me a little bit of like at least a
Little thick.
just a
I
thong.
mean, because I wonder about that, like, in different situations, as far as I always think more about when I see two big people together. You gonna get me canceled. When I see two big people together, I always wonder how do they make sex work because, it's a lot of body, to try to navigate around in order to enjoy the pleasure.
Well, and that's the thing too, how people enjoy their pleasure. And the men that I've talked to that fetishize small penis humiliation and that type of thing, like they know they're not working with what I'm
Right.
working with. Like it just like they know that that's not what women prefer. So it's like to come to that, to understand that, and then to go as far as saying that love is on the inside, but who she fucks, she deserves big dick. And I can't give that to her, so she needs to outsource that.
So do men are men okay, they gotta
That's
know that it's small if it's small.
But that's what I'm saying. The embracement of that and understanding of that, and
It's
then
different.
getting into some sort of cuckold situation where it's like you love watching your partner get fucked and get pleased because you can't do that, and your
Hmm.
pleasure comes so much from just watching them because you will never
Because you can't make her play.
can.
So that is that where not I'm sure not all the time. Is that where those type of watching fetishes come from?
Not necessarily, no.
But
Um,
that can play a part
cuckolds,
into it.
cuckolds are a many faceted, like there's so many different types of cuckolds, but the one that has the small penis that understands that girls are going to be using him for his money. I mean, it's just like
Hmm.
you got to
Hmm.
make it up somehow. You can't just be a fucking small dick piece of shit. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of them in this world. There's probably a lot of them in this world. But
Right.
that being said, to like I said, to go the extra mile and really just like not fetishize it, but just be able to be like, okay, well, I'm gonna fall in love with someone that understands that my inadequacy can be fetishized in the bedroom to feel good for me and she can feel good. Like it's just about feeling good and what works.
So let
You
me
know,
ask you this question. Do you think that squirt is pee?
I don't think
Have
so.
you ever had a squirter?
Oh, tons of them. Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't necessarily. I mean, it could be. I don't know.
So my theory on this, I think probably after I saw Suki peeing all over the place as though it was squirt and it was very yellow and very evident that it was pee, is that squirt is not pee, but like you said, it can be because if you don't know what you're doing, then you're probably likely to pee on somebody. But I always tell people that it's good to pee before you have sex if you know that you're a squirter. And then if you're a squirter, you always have to pee immediately after sex. And I'm talking about a lot of pee. And that's how you can tell whether or not it is squirt or if
Yeah.
somebody is peeing on you.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know.
So, have you had any new wild experiences? We've already talked about a lot, and you do a lot. So, I don't even know what type
I
of
mean,
questions to ask you because you are off the chain.
love has come and gone in my life
Hmm.
several since we last talked. And
Several times.
yeah, yeah.
How how long it's been? About a year, 2 years?
How about two
Probably about
years?
2 years.
Yeah, like I was really into someone and we were together for 3 years and it went sideways and it just, I guess that chapter of my life is over, you know. I really wish it could continue and but it just we were really I think we're good for each other. I don't know. It's complicated, you know. But as far as crazy things, I mean, yeah, I mean, some of the, like I said, like some of the women that I've been doing work with are really walking their path in the world of like humiliation and degradation and public sex. And so, yeah, there's been parties here and there that got a little crazy and a little wild,
Hmm.
you know, but I mean, I can make that stuff happen wherever I go.
Right. So, what's on your sex playlist? Like, you have a playlist that you
A
listen to?
playlist? You mean like as
Uh-huh.
far as music or as far
Yes. I
as
mean, we're gonna start with music and then we'll branch off.
I mean, I don't think I even listen to music while I fuck.
So, what do you do? You just silent?
Just order them around and fuck relish in the sound of them choking on my dick.
It's no TV in the background, no nothing, no background noise.
Hmm.
Oh my gosh, that
I
just
live by
sounds.
myself. I don't have to fucking shield that from
I
anybody.
mean, it's not about the shield. Like, when you're getting into the mood, you want music, like some.
Well, okay, well, I mean, I think that because of what happened to me as a child, there are
Mhm,
certain songs that'll kind of tweak me a little bit.
mhm, mhm.
And the last person I was with understood that a lot. So we could just throw on like 50s greatest hits, just songs of the 50s and 60s,
Right,
just
and it will
trigger
be.
each other to
Mhm.
be little, to be taken advantage of. Like it just there was a lot of fucked up shit that happened to us as kids. And it to have that person who understood that and got that, that was really the only time I think there's been like a playlist. Like it just yeah.
What is it? Okay, so you make porn or have in the past.
Yes.
What is your top five porn searches? Like, what is in your search
I
history?
don't watch porn at
You
all.
don't at all?
No. No. It's cheesy and acted.
Not even on Twitter? Twitter is amateur porn. It's
No,
really.
but that's what I'm saying. Like working in the industry, like I thrive to make the porn I want to see.
So you watch your own porn.
I have. I have. Yeah.
What type of porn are you making that you enjoy watching?
I mean, we made a movie once. There's a festival here in the West Coast called Hump,
Huh?
and it's an amateur porn competition. And the first year that it came out, it's probably about 10 years old now, if not more, 15 years old, maybe. I don't know. Dan Savage started it way back when, and I was in Portland, Oregon at the time, and I saw that they were doing this, and my girlfriend at the time, I'm like, we got to do this. We got to do this. And she's like, of course you want to do this. And I'm like, yeah, totally. So I responded to an ad from a couple of guys that were making a movie, and what they wanted was the movies have to be 5 minutes long, just 5 minutes, and they have to have like props that they set up in the movie that like represents the Pacific Northwest to like show whatever. So their movie was a guy on the couch. He's like, it's Friday night, man. There's nothing to fucking do. I wish something cool would happen. And then he falls asleep, and like a whole bunch of couples have sex around him on the couch while he's sleeping. And then he
Hmm.
wakes up. He's like, damn, man, Friday night. I wish there was something fucking cool to do tonight. That was all. It was like the coolest concept for like a movie.
Because he missed it out. He
He
missed out
missed
on
out
his
on
sleep.
everything. Yeah, it was cool. But like we got there and they're like, okay, we're gonna have like five other couples. Like just we'll call you up. We just needed to know you guys were cool with this and we could depend on you to come when we needed you to. And we're like, yeah, totally, we're down. They're like, okay, cool. So they called us back like 3 weeks later. The day they call for our shoot, I was sick as a dog. Like I was so sick, but I got up and I'm like, no, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do this the best I fucking can because this is my opportunity to fucking make a movie that's going to be seen by a sold out movie theater of 300, 500 plus people
Hmm.
and Dan Savage. So I'm going to do this. So we go to fucking shoot. And the guys are like, so do whatever you feel comfortable with. I'm like, do you need a money shot? They're like, no, just do whatever you feel comfortable with. And I told my girlfriend, I look at her, I'm like, oral, vaginal, anal, done. She's like, cool, done. And our signature move at that time was I would fuck her ass and fist her pussy. And I'd reach up with the membrane between her ass and her pussy and jerk myself off inside her butt.
Oh my God, that's a lot. Hold on, because that is a lot to wrap my mind around. So,
They're asking these questions, and you're already well aware that the answer is going to be something weird and wonderful.
wait. So you
Break it
fit,
down.
you're
Unpack
all,
this,
you're
Casey.
all
Unpack this.
the way, you're
Let's talk
all the
this.
way up there with your fist. So you're this much in,
Yeah.
and then you're opening your fist while
So
you're.
not wide enough that like it springs
I mean,
inside,
I'm
but
just trying to figure out because that's just
just
sounds.
enough to push that membrane up there
Uh-huh.
and
And
a little
then
pocket,
uh-huh. And
and
make
then
a little
just
cup.
yeah.
Okay. I'm asking because somebody might listen to this and want to try that. I don't know, and that's a lot. But
Yes.
when you talked about the concept of the movie where he was asleep the
Yeah.
whole time the action was going on, it kind
Yeah.
of makes me think about when I go to the sex parties and I
Yeah.
am doing
Totally.
my voyeur thing, and
Totally.
I always miss all the action because I get there kind of early, and
Because you're
then the
watching,
action.
not doing. Because you're watching, not doing. And you're going to see
Well.
people if they're not fucking
No,
doing.
it's really because I live far out from most of the time the places be like at least 30 to a minutes to an hour away from my
Oh,
house.
okay.
So I'm getting there at a reasonable time, and if I get there about 11 or 12, or yeah, about 11 or 12 cuz doors normally close about 12. If the action doesn't start happening until about 1 or 2, I'm out of it.
I get it. I get it.
I done left. I'm
So
tired now. I done got
let me,
here early.
let me finish this story. So I do that, like I did that move while they were filming. And I was completely verbal about it. I was like leading them through all of them, like, you getting this, man? I'm fucking her fucking ass, jerking myself off their pussy meat. And they're just like, couldn't believe it. They were just like, so the night Hump premieres. It was the first night, first time it was ever being done. We get free tickets because we're performers. The guys
Right.
that filmed us let us in the back way. And Dan Savage stops me. He's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm with them. He's like, sure you are. I'm like, why do you got to be a dick? Why you got to
Right.
be a jerk? I'm with them later. And I was mad. I was like, damn, man, that was Dan Savage. He's my fucking
He's yeah, he it's supposed to
awesome.
be a different type of
Yeah,
experience.
like what the hell? Like what does it matter who I'm going in with? The fact is I know where the way to get in is, so like let me
Yeah,
be.
that should say something.
So they sit us down at our seats. They're like, "Have a great show. Just wanted to tell you, none of the other actors showed up. All we used was your footage. Have a great show." And they left us. And me and my girlfriend look at each other like, "Wait, what? Wait, what?" So they showed our fucking movie, and it was this guy on the couch, and all it was us. It was just clips of us in different positions, and then the fucking finale of me coming in her fucking ass, just being awful, just fucking just
So
awful.
wait, so how was Dan Savage after seeing
So
the movie?
yeah, so aside from the biggest mind fuck of my life of watching myself in a sold out movie theater
Hmm.
with hundreds of people just like shocked that I just did that. After the movie, Dan Savage came up to me. He's like, I'm sorry I was a dick. Your movie was really. I'm like, I know. Thanks. Like,
They probably was all surprised at what they saw.
dude, yeah, they just saw my fucking dick. Like, consider yourself fucking lucky. Lucky.
Mhm.
So,
And how many porns do you think you've created? professionally.
We did that one. And then we did a movie with a friend of mine that she submitted as her final piece for art school
Hmm.
that they
Art school?
filmed.
What type of
Yeah,
art school?
the Pacific Northwest College of Art. She was the camera woman in it. It was a really good movie, and all three of us were in it. Um, it was really good. And they failed her. They were like, this is pornography, this is not art, and the Master Arch character is very misogynistic because it was all like feminist lesbian, like, or
Hmm.
they were not happy with how I was treating girls in that movie. And I was not good. I was a very mean person in that movie. But that I sold the cum shot of that movie to a very well-known movie executive for 5 figures during one of
Really?
the sessions once. Yeah. It was one of the only tributes I've gotten that's been 5 figures. I've had a couple in my life. That was the very first one. He sent it PayPal and they immediately upgraded the account to a business account.
Oh yeah, that sounds about
Processing
right.
and payment. They're like, yeah, they're like, if you're doing this much business in one payment, then we're just gonna have to upgrade this.
Hmm.
But yeah.
Give me one more wild story before we get out of here, Arch.
Oh God, man. I mean, there's so many, Casey. Like, it just, I don't even know. Like, yeah. Oh, well, lately, like, I was going to Canada a lot because British Columbia is really close to where I live, and they have better
Hmm.
sex parties in Canada than they do in America.
I've heard that.
It's so much cooler. They're so much more kind. They're so much like, I don't know, they're weird. And like, we were going to this bathhouse that allowed everybody in for a certain night of the week. And we noticed that there was this one girl that just kept going. And she would just glom on to like couples and guys and just be like the pass around girl. And
Hmm.
she really wasn't that attractive. Like she just wasn't like that may work for some couples,
Hmm.
not for
It wasn't one that there was somebody that people would just be like, "Oh yeah, yeah, yeah."
yeah. And I was fucking on the bed and I could feel her eyes on me, and I could feel like everybody's eyes on me because we were like being watched by a whole bunch of people. And one of the gay guys, because it's a bathhouse, was like, "Wow, I didn't know he was straight." And she's like, "I'm so happy he's straight because that means I can have a chance with him. I wonder if he feels the same way about me that I do about him." And I stop fucking and I look right at her and I'm like, "I don't." And she just like she's like, oh, okay. Like walked off just all downtrodden, just like, okay.
Why did you disappoint her like that?
Whatever, dude. I'm not gonna give her hope that she's gonna fucking get me fucking off because it's like
So
dude,
you're picky with your sex?
I'm so much pickier now than I ever have been in my life. But after the like, dude, 1,000 plus, like 1,000 plus, easy, easy people I've been with, like it just it's on energy. It's really on energy. If I can be a hummingbird and I can fucking have that energy, like cool, but like if it's not there, I don't put it out as much.
Yeah.
But I love,
And
yeah, hummingbird energy is my favorite though. I told you that story, right?
no.
When I went to hedonism for like the third time, because I've been to hedonism 9 times.
And what's hedonism?
It's an all nude swinger resort in Jamaica. It's
Okay.
like the the place where
To
you
go.
go to go. And it's just
Okay.
it's a party. It's a fucking party. They're like I started an orgy with at least 1,200 people between two swimming pools.
I almost spit my damn water out. What you mean? But what? Say that again.
So like there's a nude pool
Hmm.
and a prude pool, and the nude pool has a hot tub and like all these other little pools around it. And like, I don't know, like I just started, there was a lot of cocaine and we just, I don't know, it just started.
With
Just,
1,200
it was a
people?
lot of fucking people, man. It was a lot of fucking people.
I just couldn't even imagine
It was spring
just so
break. It was
much.
spring break. It was sold out. The resort was sold out.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all couples. So it's just like it's
A
soul.
fuck fest.
Yeah. And it's like people were doing cocaine.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was getting girls to do lines of coke off my cock. Like it was a good time. And I was slutty. I was fucking slutty. And that night the Germans take me aside. They're like, "You're like a hummingbird. Your penis was in everything." So it's just like, yeah, yeah. That's the energy I like. I like having hummingbird energy where I can kind of dip in and just be like, "Yo, suck that for a minute. Yeah, you're too drunk for that. Cool. I'm gonna go over this way. Have a nice day." Like just yeah.
So, before we wrapping up,
Yeah. I
but
am more selective these days in answer to your question. Yes, I am.
you said that you were slutty. And I have so many questions, not so many questions about that, but I am interested in what you consider a slut or slutty, as a sex worker.
I have had a lot of recreational sex. I've had a lot of compensated sex, and I've had a lot of relationship sex. And most of the relationship sex that I've been in has been open relationship to one degree or another.
So when you say slutty, does that mean because you're sticking your dick in everything, or the type of sex itself is slutty? Because
Um,
sex can be slutty without it being multiple people.
I am not a monogamous person in
Mm-hmm.
general,
Mm-hmm.
and I really prefer to do my antics in front of my partner rather than or alongside my partner
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
rather than behind their backs. I
The
mean, I've
back.
cheated
Mm-hmm.
before, but it just that's where I learned to be ethical about it and be like, look,
Right.
if I just vocalize what I need and want in a relationship, I'm going to attract what I need and want in a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just
And
like
if they not accepting of that, then they're not the one.
no. And I think that, now more than ever, I really just want to settle down. I
Mm-hmm.
really, really just want to settle down. And if we're promiscuous with each other and like we can be swingers, like great. I'm down with that. Or I'm showing somebody that world, great. I'm down with that. But I'm really not motivated by sex anymore. I'm not.
So, as a sex worker, and this will be my last question, and I'll let you have any remarks that you would like. As a sex worker, what does settling down look like for you?
Domesticity, nesting partner, living with someone, gardening.
But still being able to have your open, shared relationship.
To some degree, I mean, it's just like I said, this last girl I was with, like we were doing a lot of gardening. Like I actually like set the industry aside for a minute and did gardening for an entire summer with her and really enjoyed doing something other than dealing with men's sexual appetites.
Mm-hmm.
It was a nice break. It was a really nice break from that. And there will always be supporters. I will always have my fans and people that send me money for just existing till the day is long, but I'm really done dealing with anybody else's needs except my own.
And
And
what brought?
Twitter is a cesspool. I have gotten hit up like I have to keep a Twitter account for my business,
Mm-hmm.
and I will literally I get 20 messages a day, 30 messages a day.
What brought you to the place of being done?
Just the emotional labor that I'm having to do. And with this economy, like $500 an hour is not
Nah.
cutting.
Mm-mm.
Sorry.
Listen.
I never thought I'd say that, because again, I thought I'd be comfortable with that. I thought I'd
Mm,
be cool with that. And I'm set up. I'm good. I got savings. I got fucking, I don't need anybody's help per se. But I like people funding my life. I like people
right.
fucking living vicariously through my life. But it just the emotional labor I have to deal with, even with the women. Like again, like it just again, find me at a place of domesticity. Find me at a place of like nurturing and like not wanting to take me out of the industry, but understanding that like you're dealing with a damaged person, man. I've been doing this forever. So when I go out to the real world and I have to like start spending my own money and fucking doing all this shit that the rest of the world does, it it's jarring to me sometimes because I'm so used to somebody just being like, no, let me carry it. Let me do that for you. So it's just, and I think there's a caretaker in me that I didn't know I really had until this last girl brought it out more.
Hmm.
I'm not saying I want to caretake anybody anymore, but the bar has been set quite high.
Yeah. I mean, it sometimes it's just being in that position that allows you to uh, access the parts of you that may be less used. So, although you might not want to be a caretaker, to be able to utilize that portion, the portions of you that you hadn't used or needed to
Well,
use.
I mean, I think it serves me well being a sex worker because I do a lot of caretaking in what I do. I have to listen to what people need and want and what their ultimate taboos and most fucked up fantasies are, and be able
Mm.
to curate that and to be able to do that without judgment, without hesitation, without, yeah, I have a problem with the whole, like, no.
Right, right.
Like, again, I'm like the Statue of Liberty. Give me your most fucked up, most taboo things, and let's find a way to work with that and work within context of that, and remove shame from things, remove guilt and stigma from things, but also give people the opportunity to feel that with somebody and the vulnerability of admitting to somebody how,
What you're into.
yeah, because that level of really, that's really hard for a lot of people.
Hmm.
But again, I provide the landing spot for that. So it's just like,
As I have tried or not tried, as I have began curating the World of Sex Facebook page and just talking about sex more publicly, it is definitely a hard pill for a lot of people to swallow, to wrap their mind around the openness of talking about sex and being able to express themselves and explore. It has been a journey to um to just explore the world of sex, and the whole reason that I've started this journey of talking about sex and helping other people become more comfortable with
right.
their likes, their desires, their fantasies, and things. And even as a sex coach, I mean, most people don't understand what I do, why I do it, or my interest in even talking about sex, even when I'm not being sexually active. But helping people to understand what makes what I'm doing relevant, moving into the future, especially if we are really facing some of the limitations that politics are setting. You're still going to need that outlet. You're still going to need the ability to know what's available. And a lot of people are met with shame within themselves more than outside because they don't even realize that other people like what they enjoy.
Well, or that there's an avenue for them to explore that even.
Hmm.
Like, I don't
Hmm.
think anybody really knows. Like, I think this generation probably does more because of internet
Right.
things that they've seen by the time they're like 6 years old,
Right.
Like,
Golly.
at least with our generation, we can kind of sit on the porch and be like, we didn't have this stuff. Our
I mean,
parents.
I was watching porn probably very, very early on, but I was at home alone a lot. And so I would be up late a lot, and that was my thing. I think I want to say probably as young as 7 or 8 years old, just intrigued by it. And back then they used to really show everything. You used to could see penis online, I mean, on the TV screen on Sin to the Max. And even Showtime. That's when you had the sex talk shows with Dr. Ruth and things like that. But nowadays it has been compartmentalized and kind of minimized, aside from people like Amber Rose, who talks about the slut walk and things like that. And I think that there is a what you would term ethical way of presenting sex, even presenting being promiscuous without it being um a slut walk. Because to me, when I
Well,
hear
it's
slut
not
walk,
ethic
that's
at
it.
that point. At that point, it's education.
Mm-hmm.
Release that stigma. That's all that's going to take to release that stigma is education.
Mm-hmm.
And finding people that took that course enough that you can take a walk down the street and a stroll with them, then fucking more power to you. I wish we had that here local. I wish I could do more local for those organizations to do
Mm-hmm.
that type
Mm-hmm.
of thing. Because I would love to interact more with the street level people and the people that are really like doing the work.
Doing the work.
But it just, I don't know, like where I'm at, that doesn't exist. Down the I-5 corridor, it's getting harder and harder to find. Like it just, the main track in Seattle is getting policed now with loitering laws that haven't been put on it for years and years. And they just, want to clean it up. They want to take it out of commission. It's just like, the fuck? Where else am I going to see a half naked woman walking down the street at 4 o'clock in the afternoon? Come on, guys. Like, really? Don't take away Aurora.
So give us some final thoughts.
Final thoughts that educate yourself and be aware of what could possibly be coming, but also keep an open mind enough that, you know, you could find out you like something you never knew you liked tomorrow.
Yeah, you really could. I
Just
mean,
listening to your show or talking to you or, whatever it is. You're providing a service to people like me that, it's good work.
well, I appreciate you recognizing my efforts. And I definitely always love having you on the show and talking to you. You always have some crazy ass story to tell me.
I lifetime of crazy ass stories to tell you, dude. And it's
I
not
think,
hard to recognize. You have diplomas like behind you, like you keep diplomas like I keep dildos. Like I don't know.
oh God.
You got a bunch of them. No, I don't keep dildos like that. But like,
I
no, man.
mean, I don't
It's not.
know.
No, no,
How many
no,
dildos do you have?
none.
What's the most dildos you have had
When
at
I'm in
one
a
time?
relationship with girls, I mean, they've brought a couple and we've added a couple to the relationship here and there. But on my solo, like, I don't
You
know.
don't need it.
Dude.
You hung like a horse.
I mean, it just, yeah. On that note, we should really get this podcast wrapped up because nobody's paying for any of that. So
Okay, listen, baby, do
we
not play
charge
with
by the inch around here.
do not play with Master Arch.
Yeah.
You got to pay to
Fuck
motherfucking play.
you, pay me.
Hey,
That is the word, the phrase of the month for
say that
all.
again. That's our closing statement for tonight.
Fuck you, pay me.
All right now. And that is the end of today's episode of The World of Sex with the Master Arch and me, Dr. Kaci. Have a good time, have a good night, and sex is important. Make sure that you incorporate it into your relationship if you're in one and explore. Figure out what you like and then ride that thing on off, okay?
Closed mouths don't get fed.
And hello. All right. Until next time, everybody. Bye. Hi, I'm Kaci, Dr. Kaci. Welcome to Speaking Freedom. We are happy to have you, and we hope that we're able to help you in every way possible. Have a good evening. If you've enjoyed this video, like, share, subscribe, and turn on your notifications. New episode every Friday.